tell me who rock, who sell out in the stores. You tell me who flop, who cop the blue drop, who jewels got blocks, who's mostly Dolce down to the blue top. The same old pimp, Mace, you know ain't nothing changed but my limp. Can't stop till I see my name on the blimp. Guarantee me and sales pull a level up. You don't believe in Harlem World, nigga, double up. We don't play around, it's a bet, lay it down. Niggas didn't know me 91, bet they know me now. I'm the young Harlem nigga with the Goldie sound. Can't no PD, niggas hold me down.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is a Wednesday night. The time is 8 o'clock. It is the time for our Money Time podcast. I am not alone. I am with Mrs. Nikki Frellenhaus. How are you, Nikki, today?
I'm doing fabulous, Zweli. Trust that you and the listeners are well and that you had a wonderful long weekend.
Absolutely wonderful weekend. I hope people didn't mess up their budgets because of the weekend.
I hope so too.
It is our second episode. Today we looking at a different topic, and thank you for those who got time to go through the Q&A to give us their thoughts. Though it was one audience that gave us a tough time in terms of questions, but we are hoping that as we move forward, there will be more people that are giving us questions so that we are able to answer. Last week we had a live radio online show that we had Q&As on, and like we said, it's a hybrid platform. So for us, we try and make sure that we use different platforms, the video and the audio, so that we are able to cover the Q&As and the content itself on the topics. So today's topic is it's more on the money coaching. But before I do go into our topic, I just want to, for those who are listening to or watching our podcast for the first time, I'll just briefly introduce who am I, and I'll also introduce Mrs. Nikki Frellenhaus. I am Zweli, Dan Zweli, and I am a business owner. I own Umlondo Group, which is a multi-divisional company that deals mainly with technology and design. And I'm an aspiring entrepreneur. My co-host here is Mrs. Nikki Frellenhaus. She's a certified financial planner, a certified life coach, and an NLP practitioner, a certified money coach, a certified business architect coach, and a certified couples coach. So she's a lot of coaches in one. So we've got the right person here, no doubt. She also owns, she's the founder of Opulentus Wealth and also a founder of Imali Coaching. This is Nikki, ladies and gentlemen, our co-host. She's already greeted us. Looking forward to today's topic. Our topic for the day is Introduction to Money Coaching. And I've had the opportunity to go through this coaching process, or these sessions with you, Nikki. And I was also not aware that there was something like that, money coaching. I kind of have an idea. I had an idea of having business coaches and life coach, but I never had any money coaching before or heard of any of that until I met you. And I'm wondering if I'm the only one or there are a lot of people. Hence, I'm going to ask you my first question. What is money coaching?
Zweli, thanks for the question. So money coaching is relatively new to South Africa. This is something that I studied through the Money Coaching Institutes in the States. So it is a global institution with a registered trademark. So money coaching is actually a new field or paradigm where the worlds of psychology and financial services actually meet. So when working with a money coach will assist clients identify, heal, transform their emotions, behaviors, and any negative patterns around money.
Yeah, it seems like this word heals always comes up whenever money, that a lot of us are sick because of money. Hey? So it's been the third week doing this, and the word heal always comes up. So I guess it is we really sick because of money. We have money issues or money issue syndromes. So then thanks, Nikki, for that. Now it makes sense that we may find that a lot of people are not aware of what money coaching is, because it's still a fairly new thing. And when we say new, it doesn't mean it came in last year. It could be 10 years, it could be 5 years old, it could be even 15. Because sometimes people, when we say new, they're thinking maybe must be something that came in last month. Not especially with industries or things like this, you can't really say it's new because it was you've known it last year, or maybe it could be 5-10 years in existence, but because of it has not reached a lot of people, it becomes fairly new to a lot of people. So now I know that you deal with a lot of money issues in your line of work, but what actually led you to becoming a certified money coach?
Okay, Zweli, there's a bit of a backstory here, so I hope I don't bore the listeners. So I'm a certified financial planner by profession, and I have practiced for many years, and I still continue practicing. So what I found over numerous years in practice, or actually what I've observed, is that when working with clients, they meet with me, we discuss their goals, we put together wonderful plans, we move into implementation stage, and a year or 2 or 3 down the line, I find that clients are no longer committed to their plans. Now, we have a compulsory biannual and annual check-in with the client. And how I know things have possibly gone wrong is when I contact clients to set up these meetings and clients start ghosting me. So you can email, you can call, you can text, and you're getting no response from a client. So for me, I can already tell that, and this is not witchcraft, Zweli, I can already tell that there's a very strong possibility that the client's avoiding me because there is possibly some change to their financial plan, and they're not courageous enough or honest enough to actually share this with me. Now, this has happened over numerous years. And I often then ask clients who are open and honest enough to say, what, we put this plan together, other things have come up, I can no longer commit to it. And then I take this quite personally, right? I'd look at myself and I think maybe it was the advice that I gave. Maybe there was something that I've done wrong. What is it that I could do better to help my clients get better outcomes? So that always perplexed me, And as I moved on further, I'm always researching, I'm always studying, especially over the last 2 to 3 years. So almost exactly 3 years ago when the pandemic hit us. This was a time period where these type of questions became very important in my life because of the effect of the pandemics on financial markets. A lot of my clients would contact me and their greatest concerns were more emotional. And here I am trained as a financial planner, and I'm only trained to give you technical information, right? I'm not really trained to now ask questions about how are you, okay, I'd ask possibly how are you feeling, but that is the extent where it would stop, right? I was not trained to delve in further, and during that time period, what I found is that clients were looking for reassurance. right? And they were looking for more emotional assurance than technical assurance. And I found that there was a gap in terms of how I was actually communicating to clients, and clients were feeling that they weren't being seen or heard by me because of the disconnect. So this led me further to research to see how is it that I could actually bridge that gap. And it's my research that led me to the Money Institute in the States. And that is where I met the founder, Miss Deborah Price, and that was how I was introduced to the certification in money coaching, which I completed, as well as the certification in business archetype coaching, as well as the certification in couples money coaching. So having gone through the certifications and also having worked with coaches in the different areas myself as part of the compulsory requirements in terms of completion of the courses, it equipped me with more ammunition that I could now use when going back to my clients. And when they start asking questions, you know, I'd be able to relate and communicate with them on a level that I was unable to do prior to going through the coaching certifications.
Oh, well. No, I think it's very clear and it sounds very interesting. And also for me, I think it makes sense that you went that far in trying to improve yourself, because you could now see that you were not able to satisfy all the questions or all behaviors of your clients. Now, a person maybe sitting at home would ask maybe the same question that I'm about to ask, in terms of the difference between a person who is a certified financial planner, a financial coach, or a certified money coach, and a psychologist. How to see any relationship in those four aspects that I've just mentioned? How to differentiate or how to explain this, Nikki?
So it's really the common relationship between the different professions that you've mentioned is that they all deal with clients, right? But they all deal with different client needs. So a certified financial planner is someone a client would see when they're looking for advice. And this would be technical related. So for example, a client will say, I would meet with a certified financial planner and say that I've got 20 years left to retirement. I'd like to put together a plan that covers and caters for my retirement. Then a financial planner would then advise them and put together a plan, give them recommendations in terms of how is it that they can provide for this retirement goal that they have. So it's very technical. The certified financial planner does all the talking because the client's paying the person to give them the recommendations. Now, when it comes to financial coaching is very different, because a financial coach will assist clients around the management of their personal finances. So this could be everything from budgeting to managing debt, to looking and identifying their long-term financial goals. The difference between the coach and the certified financial planner is that the financial planner will give advice, but a financial coach will not be able to give a client advice. Also, coaching is very empowering, so you'd find that the coach would facilitate the discussion by asking the client questions, and the client would have to search within to try and come up with solutions. It's not like the advisory process where the financial planner is giving you the solution. Here, coach and client work together. It's a relationship of empowerment and accountability where they jointly come to an outcome. I think you also asked about a psychologist, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
Okay.
a certified.
So a psychologist will work with a client to focus on their past, unpack any psychological issues, and they'd also be able to diagnose a client from a psychological perspective. So we work with psychologists when we find that clients have issues that are far greater than what we can solve or assist with from a coaching perspective. And the last one, a money coach. So a certified money coach is a person who specifically works with clients around their emotions, thoughts, behaviors, unconscious money patterns around money.
Okay. So I think that's very clear. And I guess last week, in our first episode, we were playing a role of being a financial coach more than any other thing.
Correct.
Oh, when we were discussing budget. Okay. I guess now maybe this is rich information, and it's only Money Time podcast that provides such. So so I guess people are starting to maybe understand, and I also have a view here that this is not something you can just wake up and think you can do. And I'm doing this so that people understand that they don't start thinking that, no man, tomorrow I can wake up and be a financial coach. You need some experience.
Zweli, without having to give away my age, let me tell you, all these qualifications were achieved over many, many years of studies and a great deal of personal sacrifice.
Thank you. There you have it. You caught it from the horse's mouth. I was just about to say that they don't. People should not wake up thinking, no, tomorrow I can be a financial coach. Now that I understand, I've watched episode 1. They need to really follow up and have interest and passion in this whole thing, and also have the love for people, because you're not dealing with people. It's something else. Because you said something important about dealing with the emotional aspect of things, and I think that's a very difficult part. If you're not really good with handling people. Now, obviously, this question I asked even last time regarding budgeting, and it's because of this podcast is for listeners and it's to benefit listeners. My question is, why should listeners work with a money coach? I won't say client in this case. I would want to, because in our podcast is our clients are the listeners and viewers. So why should maybe a listener work with a money coach? What would be the reasons a person would have to maybe see a money coach?
So, summary version is to say anyone who is looking at healing, once again, the word healing or transforming or changing their relationship with money can look at working with a money coach. So it's someone who's definitely interested in self-development or personal growth. But I'll hone in further, Zweli, to actually give the listeners more relatable reasons as to why clients work with me, right? So if you're a listener out there and you feel that you are in a rut when it comes to your finances, work with a money coach, right? If you find that it really doesn't matter what you do, you keep on coming up short with your money each month. And this is even after you've got have a wonderful budget in place, something still doesn't add up and you still end up coming short when it comes to your budgets. The common one is where, still linked to that, is where people are tired of being broke all the time. and they say, why is this happening to me? Absolutely every single month, I'm always broke. Then it's also common where clients are fearful or anxious around money. So they'd often approach me to help unpack and identify where this feeling of anxiety and fear around money is coming from. The very common one, and this is not only as an after effect of the pandemic, is where people find themselves stressed all the time, and the biggest reason for their stress is financial stress. Some of the other things that we found is where I have clients who are very frugal, and they cannot understand why is it that it's so difficult for them to spend. So when they actually make a purchase of something, they have a feeling of anxiety and guilt because they've now spent money. So see, it's not only where you have an issue where you think that it's negative or you're stressed or you don't have enough money. There are also people out there who have money, but they're afraid of actually spending their money. Another common example that I get from clients who approach me is where they say they do not want to repeat the same money mistakes that their parents have made. Now, that's a very big one. Another common one as well is where clients say that they do not want to end up homeless or penniless or left out on the streets because they haven't put together sufficient financial provisions. So these are just some of the examples why clients approach me to do work around their money, thoughts, behaviors, and emotions.
No. I guess a person sitting at home would find some reason from the list that you've mentioned. But I find it quite interesting to have this one, a person who's afraid to spend money, and we do have such a challenge, and it creates other challenges when you think about it. Because if you have a person that has got money, but they do not spend money, let's take that situation where we had one of our audience writing back to us saying, you've got responsibility as a person now, and you've got a limited budget where now whatever that you have, it's stretched to its limits, and you are not able to see value in budget, and yet you have other people that are surrounding you, and you probably maybe even helping them out because they don't spend, they are scared of spending their money. So when I think about it, I feel like such situations are also problematic, and they are not common in people talking about them. But I remember I had I think one of my niece said it, that I also have a problem with spending my money. And I guess we all have that element, but it can be very, very bad in a situation where you do have your own money, but you end up having people using their money to cover for you because you don't want to spend. Typical example would be friends. People that go out on a date as a group of friends, they all agree that we're going to spend maybe 100 Rand each. But there's this one person who feels that, right now I have 100,000 in my account. Immediately I take out my 100 Rand, I'm going to have 99,900.
Yes.
And for them, it has changed the figures. It was 6 figures, now it's 5. And that's a problem for them. So those are the things that also creates more problems for others if you are such a type of a person. And I believe that maybe it's something that would be would be a problem for a lot of people, because some people think that they need to keep their money. And how do you make money if you don't spend your money? How do you make more money if you do not spend your money? That's another question that comes up in my head. But thank you very much for that. I think it was very, very detailed. Now,
sorry, you've raised some very valid points here, and ideally, you need to get to a stage where you have a balanced relationship with money. So you're not overspending, neither are you in a situation where you're not spending at all, right? So the whole idea is to have a balanced, harmonious relationship with money.
No, thank you. Thank you very much. And it's for me, it's mostly people who are in business who will have a problem with this type of issue, where you are running a business, you are just wanting to be on the receiving end, but you don't want to spend. But you're expecting to have employees, you're expecting to have resources, and you are hoping for your business to be booming. You are not willing to invest in more products or new ideas, and that could be a problem. So if it's a character that you have, it can easily translate into your business character. And that's why maybe some of these businesses fail, because they are scared to spend money, and they just have money, but their businesses are not doing well. But I like the way you've explained that you need a balanced, harmonious relationship when it comes to that. Now, how does money coaching process work, Nikki? Can you explain how does this process works?
Sure, Zweli. So the process that we use is the core step process. And this was a method that has been developed by the founder of the Money Institute, Miss Deborah Price. So for example, and you would also know this, having gone through the money coaching process by yourself, we actually offer 6 sessions to a client. And each session, because we use a tried and tested method, every step of the way, we unpack various things within your money history, your money bio. We utilize and leverage a money quiz until we reach a stage where we identify your negative money patterns and behaviors. We identify the dominant money archetypes that are running your life, or maybe being the archetypes that are underutilized, which could reach a more stronger, powerful level for you to leverage off. We also provide you with tools which will assist you in terms of transforming the negative money patterns into a more favorable desired outcome. We also, when the process is over, we still check in with clients a month or 2 after the process, just to see how clients are doing, just to pick up any questions or concerns that clients may have, and just have a general discussion in terms of how they've actually integrated the core step process. So it's very detailed. Like a lot of clients say, oh, but can I just have 1 session and all my money issues will be sorted out? Absolutely not. This is a process. It does take place over a consecutive 6-week period, and each session has a particular area that's unpacked until we reach the end, where we would now be able to say to you and present you with a report which says, these are your patterns, this is where it comes from, this is who it comes from. These are recommendations and tools in terms of how you can actually shift towards more positive behaviors and patterns.
Very true. I know this for a fact that, yeah, it's a 6 weeks of emotional training sessions, but that are very, very beneficial. I must say, because, as you go through this, you realize your reality about money. And my favorite in this whole thing, and it is where this podcast, even it's about everything I don't know if I say you should call it payoff line because we're not really selling anything here. That's where it comes from, your money story. And that's the first thing that you start with. And for me, the lesson that I never thought I would take out from it is that your whole life is affected by money. Your whole life, from childhood. It's unfortunate. And I want to say this because even to the most religious person, if you do not believe this, then you haven't seen your reality about money. Your whole life, money has said something to it, from you being born up until now. And I'm saying this because most religious people say, I'm okay without money. And it's actually not, it's not like that, because for you to wake up and eat, there's money. For you to be able to sleep under a shelter, there's a money element. So it's easy, it's okay to say I'm not money oriented, or I'm not the person that would, but never say I'm okay without money, because that's not the reality. So you've mentioned a lot of things, but also I like the unlocking their true potential statement, which is listeners can really unlock their true potential, find out who are they around money, what is it that they can do, because these archetypes that will pop up will tell you who you are exactly. But let me not get into that much. I'm sure people really now are interested and they want to have these sessions with you. So I don't want to be the one that spoils this party for you or for them. So the money patterns, what is that, Nikki? What are money patterns?
So money patterns are repetitive or recurring behaviors around money, which you may, or around your relationship with money, which you may or may not be consciously aware of. So when we go through the core step process, that is where we go through, as you've mentioned, your money history and your money bio to unpack your money story. And that is where we start picking up your money patterns, which you may or may not be aware of, and actually show you how this has been playing out in your life. So, Zweli, to give listeners an example in terms of what an example of a money pattern would be, a common one that I pick up with a lot of clients is where clients find that it doesn't matter how much they earn, it's never enough, right? And you'd find that these type of clients will move into a new job, they've barely settled into the job, and 6 months later, they're on LinkedIn, they're on all the different websites, they're communicating with recruitment agents, because now the new salary that they've received just isn't enough. And this continues, and you find a person hops from job to job because they're not moving because of career growth or career progression. They're actually moving for money because something's happening on the back end, whereby whether it's poor budgeting or overspending or whatever the reason is, right? We have no idea, but there is a reason that's actually driving the behavior where this particular person never has enough. So that type of person, when working with a money coach, as we go through the core step process, we would actually be able to pick up where has that come from, right? Has it happened in early childhood? Has it happened when the person was a teenager, a young adult? We would try and find the time period or the trigger that caused this. Or actually, listeners, we could actually find which parent it comes from, right? It's not uncommon to find that this could be a particular pattern that one of your parents has, and very unconsciously, you have actually adopted this particular pattern?
Yeah, I know this for the fact, but you came up with something new in terms of the example that you've just given, but the pattern thing, I remember that I came out to be too generous, and when I think back, that comes from my grandmother and my mother. So those are challenges, and we have to also say this, that money coaching does not erase the goodness in part. No, I think we need to come out with that first, to say, if you're a good person, you need to remain good, but remain good with, there is something that you introduced that says have boundaries.
Mm.
And once you have that, it doesn't mean that people cannot come over to this line, but you need to be able to be reasonable within whatever that you are doing, and not be abusive to your own self, because sometimes that's what happens. And it takes time for us to realize it. Up until you are in a situation where you are really feel like you are alone and no one is out to help you, then that's when you realize that, what have I been doing for the past 20 years? Haven't I been good to people? Haven't I been good to everyone? And now all of a sudden, why am I left alone? And it's because the reality is that your patterns are not as perfect as they look out to be. Because like you are saying, a person can be proud of getting a job today and they offering him 10,000. The next job is 15 in 6 months. The next job is 20. But in the whole three jobs, they have not been satisfied. Then there's a problem, and that person only sees the good part, that I'm able to get a job switch for a better job, but the pattern somehow, they won't, by the time they are earning 50 or 70K, they would have been maybe 10 or 20 years older and still having the same problem of not being able to manage their finances. And one thing that we maybe that I also learned from some of the exercises that we did, and especially from the book that you recommended, is that it's sad to enjoy your money when you are retired.
Yes.
Like because you have limited time there.
Mm.
You've got limited time, so you retired at 65. Maybe you retire, you are already having some illnesses like high blood pressure or sugar diabetes. You are old. Chances are you've got another 10 years. And it's going to be difficult. But yeah, I hope people can get the opportunity to just go through these things so that they get to understand who they are when it comes to money patterns and all that.
Really, thank you for sharing, and I'm certain that the listeners have actually been able to relate with you, relate as you've been sharing. But listeners, on another note, hey, if you want to go out for dinner or pizza or so, Zweli, as you can hear, is the guy who is more than likely going to pick up the bill because of his over generosity. But this would have happened a few months ago. Ever since Zweli went through the core process with me, I'm certain he still will be generous enough to pay a portion of the bill, but he's not going to fall into his old habits of the past where he would have picked up the entire bill when going out with friends.
definitely not going to do that. And it's not because you've just become a bad person. It's just trying, getting to understand how the money system works. Because if they say that if you don't respect money, money won't respect you. So those are hard lessons. Those are real hard lessons. That's why and people should go back to these shows. There is a show called I don't really like the show, but I'm not a follower, but I know. There's a show called I Blew It. And and it's because you know what it does, Nick? It shows people who had money and now they have nothing. And the people will tell their stories there. And some patterns were picked, were developed because of money, these new patterns. And most people who had money there, their stories about being generous, coming into a bar or a club saying, hey, everyone.
Drinks on me.
On me. It's all in the house, something like that. And people buying their friends clothes, things that they wouldn't do when they were just not having money. So you see this notion of you becoming generous or too generous because you have money and not thinking about tomorrow, it can really create problems for people. So we need to be very, very careful. Hence, we are trying to break it into as simple as possible for people to understand that there is things like money patterns, and if you're not aware of such things, you are likely to be struggling and not knowing why you can't diagnose your challenges because of you keep on repeating the same things or the same mistakes. So
Zweli,
sure,
I have to watch the show.
Yeah, you need to. I don't know if they still have it, but it's on either on Mzansi Magic, but you can find them on YouTube. How I blew it. There's so many people there that have got money stories, especially these people who got exit the ref money, road accident fund money, lottery winners, gambling winners. And it's most people that did not earn the money from their sweat, from working for it. Most of those monies that came, inherit money, all those stories, most of those people are the ones that, I'm not saying all of them, but mostly, it's those people who are struggling.
I will definitely check it out. And for me, when I approach it as a certified money coach, I'll just be able to quickly connect the dots and tell their different archetypes and where their money patterns or their issues lie.
I'm sure you'll definitely be able to do that. So you also mentioned something about archetypes. Can you tell us more about these money archetypes?
So, Zweli, when we do the core step process, we work with archetypes. Now, the concept of archetypes comes from the work of the father of psychology, Carl Jung. So the founder, Deborah Price, utilized that particular concept in terms of creating different archetypes. So these archetypes are not your personality or who you are. They're just symbolic metaphors which helps a person understand their behaviors and their patterns. And when it comes to money coaching, we have 8 different archetypes. When it comes to business coaching, we've got 10 different archetypes. And when it comes to couples money coaching, we have 8 different archetypes there. So it's not who you are. We just use them as metaphors. As you know, money is a very sensitive topic. So we're not saying to you, Zweli, Zweli, as a person, you are now a chronic spender, right? We are actually going to use an archetype that will link it to you, where you can identify with the archetype without us directly saying to you, Zweli, and coming across as disrespectful or hostile or attacking you, to say you are a chronic spender.
Okay, yeah, but I remember when I took a quiz, I think I came out. I honestly didn't like the. I think I came out as a fool, and I was like, "I'm a fool. Like, what does that mean?" But like you are saying, these are metaphors, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I also came out, I think, as a warrior. So, and some people may think, warrior means, hey, all good and well, but there's also pros and cons for becoming that. So yeah, and quite interesting. I think because you have a website, and you also mentioned money quiz there, so people can go to. We'll provide the details. I think the ones below, as the show is running, where people can go and take a quiz. And maybe the question that comes might be, do I pay for taking a quiz?
Zweli, there is absolutely no cost associated to a person taking the quiz. So any of the listeners can go onto our website, www.imalicoaching.com. You select the tab which reflects Money Quiz. You complete your details, complete the quiz. A copy will be emailed through to you. So then you'd be able to you'd get a report of your active and your passive archetypes. Then all the archetypes that Zweli has been speaking about, warrior, fool, these are things that will make a bit more sense when you take your own money quiz. So zero cost involved. But when you do the money coaching core step process with me as a coach, we include the results of the money quiz, and it is part of the core step process.
Yeah, there you go. You got it from us. It's free. Just go and take the quiz. But I can tell you, I'm not a certified money coach. You have to be honest. There, you need to be honest. And I think that's another thing that maybe I should be emphasizing. That, with my money coaching, one thing that will help you is being real with yourself. And the opportunity is there because you only have your coach and yourself, and you are given time to think on your responses. You are given time to reflect and have time to really think hard about maybe your previous actions and how, because the aim is to obviously grow and be better. So if people want to really enjoy and benefit from being coached money-wise, one thing that will help them is honesty. Because if you're taking a quiz jokingly and hoping to understand who you are, you won't get the right report. You'll get a report close to what you want, but it won't be exactly because you were just playing around. So I think it's really important for people to know that honesty would be key in this case.
Thanks for that, Zweli.
Yes. So for listeners, is there a criteria or requirement to work with a money coach, or anyone? Do I have to be maybe a business owner, or I'm just an individual, an ordinary citizen? Who can consult a money coach?
So anyone's really, all a person needs is the willingness, the openness to go through the process. So absolutely anyone, as long as you're looking at transforming and changing your relationship with money, you move ahead, give me a call, we can set up time and start chatting around the process.
Okay. And then, okay, Nikki, because now I'm more focusing on you in terms of being a money coach, and also a certified financial planner. And then, what other services do you offer to clients other than money coaching?
So, Zweli, apart from the money coaching, so money coaching, we do this on an individual basis. We also have what we call money coaching circles. So for a circle, we don't work with more than 4 to 8 people at a time. So this is a more cost-effective option for clients, but it is an option where you would not get a comprehensive outcome the way you would as individual coaching. So what would happen in a circle, if you have about 6 people, everyone joins together, then each person will have a slot. So for example, if we start at 10 a.m., we'll all meet together as a coach. I will give all the attendees in the circle a few exercises. Then at 10:15, Zweli will go in for the first session. 10:30, we have Nikki going in until we have all 6 people who have completed their sessions. So their sessions are confidential. The other members in the circle do not know what happened between Zweli's session with the coach. And then we finish off by going back to the group and getting instructions in terms of prep work for the next session. So circles is for people who are a bit skeptical, if I may use the word, or uncertain whether they're willing to invest in the full 4-step process. The money circle is a more cost-effective way to expose you to what money coaching is all about. We also do offer money coaching workshops. We offer money archetype consultation. So that's linked to the money quiz. From a business perspective, we offer business archetype coaching. The requirement there, though, is you have to be an existing business owner, preferably with a business that's between 6 to 12 months old. And then with couples coaching, the criteria for that is you've got to be in a relationship or a partnership with a significant other where there's 2 people and there's joint finances involved.
Okay. I guess the reason why I asked this question was so that people understand that they're not just limited to one
Offering.
Option. There is other ways, but though we know that the one-to-one, especially for individuals, is the best. But maybe, also the 6 to 8, it could be maybe people who have got a savings club or planning to go into a business together. They can work like that. And then there is also, like you said, people who, like a couple who maybe go for couples money coaching. So it doesn't really limit a person to the individual offer that we were discussing all the time. So couples out there who are always having money issues, they can also get couples money coaching, which I believe it works, because I've been listening to a lot of YouTube tips and all that, you know, and there's always one thing that comes out when people talk divorce. It's money.
Yes, it's the number one reason, specifically in the States, why people divorce. It's because of financial challenges within the marriage.
Yeah, most of the time. We're not saying everything is because of, all divorces are because of that, but one major issue in divorces is because of finances. So it can really help. And you see, for me, the question is, why is that? And people may quickly jump to answers to say, yeah, it's because people love money. That's why they are married. And it's not even the case, because it goes back to what I said, that everything, money says something to everything. Now imagine having to run a household where there's no money, or one person is let's say there's a husband and a wife, and the husband is dominant. He's the one bringing the income, but also the income is not controlled by the couple. He's got the say, he does everything. Whenever he feels like not buying food, he doesn't. So that can also create problems. So there's a lot that can really go wrong. But yeah, let's leave it at that. I guess people will have to, obviously, if they want to find out more, maybe consider these sessions with you, Nick, because the aim is we are limited with time. We can't obviously go into every detail. Now, do you offer a discover or exploratory calls to clients wanting to find out more about your offering?
Sure, we do. So I offer a 15-minute call. So any client who is interested, they can go onto our website, contact us. We'll send through our calendar booking link. They'd choose a date and time that's convenient for them. And during the exploratory call, we discuss any questions they have around any of the money coaching offerings.
Okay. Yeah, I'm almost done. I have a last question for you. I have to. Are you able, if it's not too much, are you able to share your money story quickly before I go? If it's not too confidential.
Really? Why are you laughing? Really?
Because I'm putting you on the spot here.
This
It's
is
not like
very sneaky of you, Zweli. Okay, now let me just get to a more somber mode here. Yeah, okay, so you're really putting me on the spot. I really was not prepared for this question, but I mean, I don't mind sharing with the listeners out there. So as part of the process in terms of getting certified as a certified money coach, it is compulsory for all students or potential money coaches to also go through the money coaching process themselves with another certified money coach. So when I started the certification in money coaching, I worked with a wonderful coach by the name of Karen, and Karen's based in Australia. So you've heard me speak throughout the session about the core step the 4-step core process, etc. And my coach, Karen, actually took me through the process. So I must say, and this isn't coming from a space of arrogance, just from a space of honesty, before, when I was told I'd have to go through the process, so I thought, okay, fine, open to it. And I still found myself thinking, I wonder what is it that this money coach is going to say to me? Because as a certified financial planner, I've got my plan in place. Yes, there has been a few challenges due to COVID as a business owner. I've had some challenges, and my financial plan I had to fine-tune my financial plan to adjust for some financial challenges around COVID. So I was aware of that, and I thought, okay, I've tweaked my plan. I really don't know what else a money coach could tell me. And I'd like to think that over the last few years, I've reached a far more healthier relationship with money than where I was maybe 5 or 10 years ago. So off I go to the session with all these thoughts in my mind. And after the first session, I was literally speechless, and if those of you who know me, and Zweli certainly does, I'm never at a loss for words. So if I tell you I was speechless by the end of the session, I really mean it. I mean, I learned things about my unconscious money patterns in a 1-hour session that I haven't known about me in all my years of existence. Now, I'm the type of person who has spent a lot of time working with clinical psychologists. I've worked with life coaches. I've worked with business coaches. So this isn't coming from a space of arrogance, but what I'm trying to bring across is the fact that self-development, personal growth is very important to me. And I'm very aware of my strengths, my blind spots. So to have a stranger who does not know me in an hour uncover my money patterns was absolutely mind-blowing for me. Absolutely mind-blowing. And as we went further into the other sessions, with every session, I'd finish the session and then my husband would ask me, so how was it? What happened? And I'd say to him, just give me time to process. When I'm ready, I'll share feedback with you. That is how impactful it was for me. That is how moved I was by the magnitude of what came out during the sessions. So once I was done with the process, I was able to identify all my unconscious money patterns. I was also given tools in terms of transforming this into more positive or desired outcomes. My coach also helped me hone and unlock some of my natural talents, which I must admit I had actually forgotten over the last few years. So there was a lot of information that was given to me. So all of this took place in November, December last year. Now, I know a lot of listeners may be thinking, oh, yeah, all soft and fluffy. We can hear you were moved by this and it was awe-inspiring for you. But the skeptics are more than likely thinking, so how has it changed your money story? What tangible returns have you actually received in your life? So over the last few months, so I'd say from Jan, we're now in April, there's a few things that have happened in my life which I will attribute to my work with my money coach and having transformed my own relationship with money. So a few things that I can share with the listeners is I was approached by a company who wanted to purchase my primary business, Opulentus Wealth. So the business was not up for sale. I don't know how they found me, but they liked the model that I'm using. They liked my business value proposition, and they made me an offer. So I said to them, thank you for the offer, but I'm not interested in selling my business. Let me tell you, without giving away the figure, it was a very lucrative figure, and I really had to think long and hard whether I was actually going to decline this offer. When I declined the offer, they went on further to say to me, and if you go onto the Opulentus website, you'll see I had a few apps developed from a budgeting perspective. Then they've said to me, fine, you don't want to sell your business, sell us your apps. So I said to them, these apps, it's my IP, but it was created by my dev guy. So if you want to purchase the apps, it's a discussion that you need to have with both me as well as the software programmer who actually developed the apps. So we set up a meeting, and the dev guy said to me, Nikki, listen, it's left up to you. So I said, from my side, I'm not interested in selling the apps. You're welcome to work with these guys and create new apps. But my IP and my apps are not for sale. So my dev guy got opportunities created for him as a result of these guys approaching me to purchase the business. So he did have further discussions with them, and subsequently he decided not to go ahead and do freelance work with them or create further apps for them. But that is one example. Some other examples that I'd like to share with the listeners so they can see how tangible this is and how it's actually shifted my money story is to say that during this time period, I was able to launch my second business, Imali Coaching. And just to let the listeners know, both my businesses are not funded by anyone. It's all me, myself, and I, and all my hard-earned cash. I was able to launch the Imali coaching business. It's only been 4 months, but the response from the public has been absolutely phenomenal. I can even share links to my calendar. It's very rare that you will find gaps in my diary, and I'm now reaching a stage where I get booked a week and a half in advance. I think the most important one that I'd like to share with the listeners, and this one's very close to my heart and very big for me, is that I have a few properties that I rent out. So it's part of my rental property portfolio, and this is one of my business concerns. So last year, I decided that I wanted to sell off one of the properties. I was having a lot of challenges in terms of the tenants, also the particular complex in which the unit was situated. There's been a lot of sectional title challenges with the body corporate, and things weren't going well. So for me, I didn't want to wait for a situation whereby my unit would literally be worth nothing based on all the challenges that the body corporate was facing. So the property went onto the market last year in September. This was as I was studying the money coaching. You know, no response. September, October, November, December, I said to the agents, delist. I don't want the property getting stale on the market. And at the end of Jan, after having worked through all my money patterns with my coach, Karen, I decided to relist the property using a different agent. And I had this done at the end of Jan this year. Literally into the second week of Feb, my agent called me with the absolute greatest news ever. She had 2 potential offers, both were cash offers, and I took the first offer, which was a very lucrative offer. Now, listeners, this particular property is not worth hundreds of thousands, it's in the millions. And for a person in this day and age to get a hard cash offer is literally unheard of. And the agent said to me, Nikki, you know, it's your choice whether you choose to accept the offer or not. But I wish to tell you, as an agent who does this work on a daily basis, not many people get cash offers. I decided to accept the offer. This was in the middle of Feb. For those of you who are homeowners, property owners, you would be aware that there has been a challenge with the COJ system in March. As a result, that held back my process for the property because we were awaiting confirmation and a certificate from COJ. If it weren't for that hold up, my money would be in the bank, the property would have been transferred to the new owner, and that particular chapter of my life would have been closed. Now, I bring this up is because these are true life examples of things that I have experienced since working with a money coach and clearing what I call my money debris. And this is a few things that I've experienced. I know we're almost up for time. I can spend the next 30 to 40 minutes, if I think really deeply, sharing more and more stories in terms of how my life has transformed and changed since going through the money coaching.
Yeah, no. I don't know what to say to you. I almost said stop. No, but and you know, as I'm listening, I also was thinking, how are you going to wrap this up? And the way you've wrapped it up, I think it satisfies a lot of questions that would have came up. But why so many stories? Because the first one is you had the opportunity to be bought as opulent as well, but because of your money patterns and money coaching, you could say no, you know? And because, I mean, being bought, I'm sure, like you said, it can't be just peanuts. That's why I'd be like, Nikki, come on. You know, we shouldn't be here. So it shows that something was instilled in you, or it was revived. If it's something that you had, it was revived. If it was something that you did not have. But at the same time, there is an offer that you even got, that you accepted. So it tells you that in different situations, you are able to apply your mind to a point that it benefits you, because it's about you getting benefit from this, or growing from this. And I'm happy that you shared two different stories, but that shows that you made two different decisions that benefited you in the end. Because the other one, you declined a sale, the other one, you accepted the offer. And the person is sitting and thinking, how does one do that? Because if you don't apply your mind, you would have taken the blanket approach to say, I'm not selling, it would have been, I'm not selling this property, I'll make a plan, even when you know that this property is giving you problems and you've got issues with the corporate body and all that. And yet you also declined an offer that most people would have jumped for, being bought out with millions and millions of rands. And so for me, it says a lot about you. Like there's a lot that has changed, and I wasn't aware. You haven't told me this. I'm surprised.
Zweli, I know you would have convinced me and said to me, Nikki, take the offer, take the offer.
Definitely, that would have been me. Okay. No, I think, yeah, for me, I think that was it. I don't know if you have anything, but yeah, this is just me. That was my last question.
Thanks, Zweli. I know, well, you put me on the spot earlier, right? You've been through the money coaching process yourself. Is there anything you'd like to share in terms of how your life has transformed since completion of the core step process, if it's not too personal to ask?
It's always personal, but I guess because you gave it away, I'll have to. No, I'm joking, but definitely yes, Nikki. On a serious note, there's been change, and it's all because of it's a combination of things, besides just the activities that we did, but also there was a spirituality element around this whole money coaching thing, being grateful, knowing how to forgive yourself and all that. But yeah, it was a very bumpy 6 weeks, I must say. Things were good and bad. I remember the first part, because the money story. I don't come from a mother-father family background, siblings, where it's just an intimate family. I come from a grandmother, cousins, aunt type of a family set up. And that is very different to the standard family that money coaching would want to start with. So my money background was quite different compared to a lot of people that maybe you know. And hey, it was a very emotional thing to start with, because I had to write my money bio. And that's why I'm definitely sure of this, that everything that we go through, money says something to it. For everything that we do, there's an element of money. And I'll just mention this because it's clear even in my head that my first money experience that I wrote in my bio was me and my cousin being chased away from our our creche or preschool because we did not pay fees. And we had to go back home and communicate that they said we must not come to school because we did not pay our fees. And I don't feel embarrassed about this, and I hope even some of my family members won't feel bad because it's all in the past. It was what it was. And for me, that's when I realized that justice, this money thing has been with us from childhood. But because we were taught that you are a child, and it's how most African kids were raised then. That no, you are a child. What do you know about money? What are you gonna do with money? Money is for other people, you know. And those are the things that we grew up with, and we still take. We don't blame our parents for that because they also took it from somewhere, and you know it was a It's only changing now when our kids or the generation we are giving birth to is going to maybe have a different money experience, because at the young age they are already exposed to cell phones and so it could change. So, but just to mention that my money story, writing the biograph made me aware of a lot of things. Good and bad patterns, mistakes, everything from childhood up until now. And I have to say that when I was going through the course, of course, I was going through financial difficulties. And fortunate enough, I met you the way I met you. But let me just say that there is change. I've honestly become somehow, I don't want to sound like I'm bragging, but I have become what I've been but never practiced. I've become a magician in this whole thing, because I'm doing a lot of things that are now starting to generate money, and things that, and it's not just one thing. It's me coming up, taking what I have as my own talents, and that exercise came from money coaching, where we listed all the things that I'm able to do, and it's a lot, Nikki. It's a lot that I could mention there, but I had to take 2 or 3 and use that instead of just focusing on one. And it's really, really working. And currently I'm very busy, including, this has nothing to do with making money, but this just shows that me being a magician has also given birth to the podcast. And this is me asking Nikki to say, let's have something that I can use as giving back to some of the people that are not aware of these things. But besides just doing the podcast, I'm doing some other work, 3 different things besides the podcast that I'm currently doing. And every day on a daily basis, Monday to Friday. And because of this coaching, a lot has come out, and I'm able to cope with these things. And even because it's only now that I'm seeing revenue from this, since I started December, but revenue I'm starting to see now. And whenever I start seeing that happening, I'm starting to also be awake of how I need to act around money. It's no longer the same, and I don't want to be headlong. There's nothing that has changed for me, in me, about the person that I am, but I'm more aware of what I need to do in terms of how I behave around money. And thanks to money coaching, thanks to the sessions that we have, it has really changed a lot of things, and it has brought more peace of mind than the stresses that I used to have. Because I maybe people that knows me, I would know that there were times which were good, where we were in business and we're doing well, but in the process there were a lot of mistakes that were made, and then now I had to start from scratch, and I've learned a lot, and I'm hoping that the baton can be taken forward by just giving information and making people aware and directing people to the right people. Because like I said even last week, I'm not even ashamed to say it this week. People need to have people that are mentoring them in order for them to succeed. Because like I said, even the greatest business people have coaches, have what they call them, mentors. So I can't run away from saying people who needs money coaching need to be in contact with you, Nikki, because I've seen it. I also know that my younger sister, I wouldn't want to mention her name, also has benefited from these sessions, and she's doing very well in terms of understanding. And whenever we exchange ideas, I can see that she's very much awake and conscious about these things. And for me, I'm really grateful. I still have a gratitude journal because of money coaching. It might not be something that I am religious to writing every day, but I remember at least 3-4 times in a week that I need to do it. And if I couldn't get the chance to write it down, I need to say it inside me that, hey, you have made 1 or 2 mistakes by doing this and this. Let me forgive myself and let me move on and stop dwelling on this. Because every day it's a learning, it's a new day. So you might find new lessons in it. So yeah, just to repeat, the money coaching for me has really had a positive impact, and I'm hoping that anyone that goes into it can really. I'm confident that if they do it with seriousness and they are determined to overcome their challenge, they will definitely.
Zweli, thank you so much for that heartfelt share. I mean, I'm very moved to hear about this. You've shared a lot with me in the past, but on this level, it just fills my heart with joy and happiness that you chose me as a facilitator to rewrite your own money story.
No, let's not, because it really gets emotional, and because it's reality, it's true, it's the truth, and some people may not understand up until they go through it. The reality of facing your money issues is not as simple as it sounds. As we are talking like this, once you get into it and you go through it and you come out of it, you become a different person, not for the worst, but for the better. So my advice to people is that be in touch with Nikki if you do have serious challenges, and it might not be today because we've talked about budgeting. So make a plan, start planning. We're not saying tomorrow, and even when you know that I can't, but start look, especially when from the reasons that you are depressed because of money, you're anxious, you've got anxiety about money, you are scared of spending money, you are always broke, you are tired of being broke. All those reasons can give you, if you find yourself having one reason to see a money coach, Nikki is right here. And we will provide you with the details during now that we are ending the podcast. But thank you very much, Nikki, for a session like this one. I feel it was a very personal one.
It
And
was.
Yeah, and it's one of my favorites because it has really had an impact in my life. I don't want to lie. I don't think I'd be sitting here doing Money Time podcast if it weren't for money coaching. And I always emphasized this to you to say, Nick, I feel like a lot of people don't know about these things. Hence, we came with this idea of you bringing in your information. And since I have some bit of background with the podcasting while I was doing it during COVID, and that's how we gave birth to Money Time podcast. It is about everything, ladies and gentlemen. For me, it's good night, Nikki. Your goodbyes to listeners.
Bye, everyone. Take care and see you at the next podcast.
Bye.